Oh, it's just after 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm here at the Guanella Pass trailhead here on Monday, July 6th of 2020. I'm going to climb Mount Bierstadt today. And there's the rounded summit of Mount Bierstadt there, and what's known as the Sawtooth, that sharp point to its left. And there's the trailhead parking lot. Already quite a bustle this morning. And we have the signs at the trailhead. Go ahead and get started. So welcome to my video of hiking up the standard west slopes route of Mount Bierstadt, which was my third time on this route. The Guanella Pass trailhead is easily accessible from the north or south via the paved Guanella Pass Road. Now this picture shows the mountain from the west side. The shot here shows it from the top of 13er Mount Spalding to the northeast. And these next couple views show a broader view of it from the northeast from along the high west ridge stretch of Mount Evans. And I will link the videos of my Mount Evans hike for you. Finally, this last view is from the northwest from the descent route which I took on this occasion. The mountain is named after German-American painter Albert Bierstadt, who visited the area back in the 1860s, back when this group of mountains had been collectively dubbed the Chicago Mountains by miners from that city. Bierstadt had been painting in a style of dramatic, luminescent western landscapes for audiences back east, and one of his more famous paintings was inspired by the picturesque Chicago Lakes Basin, which afforded a striking view of the highest peak in the Chicago Mountains. The painting, shown here, is very largely based on this view and is titled A Storm in the Rocky Mountains, Mount Rosalie. He had called the peak Mount Rosalie in honor of his wife, and not long after its name was changed to Mount Evans in 1895, the name Bierstadt was given to the neighboring 14er. The name Rosalie was reapplied to a 13er that lies to the southeast. In our time, the standard west slopes route up Mount Bierstadt has become one of the most popular 14er hikes in Colorado, given its relative proximity to Denver and its comparatively mild endurance and climbing stats. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the footage. Now this hike starts off with a little bit of a descent through these willow bushes, and the reports I've been seeing lately talked about some fairly muddy conditions, so hopefully it's not too muddy. I've already crossed through several substantial puddles. And you can see this trail and on this stretch is comprised of this boardwalk. Now there was a time many years ago when this wasn't here, so the main challenge of this hike was bushwhacking through these willow bushes before they put this in. So as I continue along this initial slight descent stretch through these willow bushes, I was going to mention the stats for this, the endurance stats for this, just under 3,000 feet of total elevation gain, and about 7 miles round trip. Once we get through this section, we'll eventually angle up toward the mount right there, and then up to the top. So continuing along in a roughly east direction, as you can see, we're finally starting to gain some elevation here. And I'm continuing to zigzag along this switchbacking path roughly east. Eventually up here, I believe we're going to make a swing toward the south. There's a view back down to the parking area. And I am continuing in southeast direction roughly. You can now see the summit of Mount Bierstadt in view there. I'm coming up here about 12,500 feet. See the impressive Sawtooth ridge there. And it looks like at this point I'm about to turn and start hiking towards the south, like I mentioned earlier. So I'm up here, about to close in on about 13,000 feet. Still headed southeast, and the path has gotten noticeably steeper. And finally getting a glimpse of the sun peeking through the Sawtooth ridge there. About 6:30 in the morning now. I'm now up here about 13,002 or 300 feet. And we've turned a little bit more back to the east again. And pretty soon up here, we're going to swing back around toward the north until we reach the summit. This part's pretty steep. And you know what's conspicuously absent so far is the wind. I find rare for this area. See if it holds up though. Now when I'm about roughly 13,700 feet, and I am beginning to swing, like I said before, toward the north, or northeast rather, and we'll be going in that direction until we reach the top. Almost there. And as I approach the final summit stretch, it does get bouldery. Path gets easier to lose. Have to look for some cairns. And now you're looking at the final summit stretch there. And it seems initially I'm going up the left side of it here, or west side. Definitely more and more boulder hopping up here. A little bit smoother section here. And part of this is kind of a choose your own finish scenario. And here I am. it took me about 2 hours to reach the summit, and had I chosen to descend via the same route, the stats for the day would have been those shown at the beginning. However, on this occasion I chose to climb over the jagged Sawtooth Ridge that connects Mount Bierstadt to Mount Evans, and I will also link the video of that exciting stretch for you. Now, the descent route I took after reaching the Sawtooth goes down the west slopes of Mount Evans and takes you down a steep, loose rock and scree-ridden gully and through another expanse of willow bushes, this one without a boardwalk, which is a quagmire this time of the year. I was actually left wondering whether it was really worth it not to have to retraverse over the Sawtooth Ridge and Mount Bierstadt, but descending this way did allow me to get some pictures of the mountain that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Now, completing this circuit added roughly a couple miles to my total trip, as well as several hundred feet of elevation gain. I'm going down this lovely, loose rock and scree slope, down this gully on the west side of Mount Evans, and continuing down this really obnoxious gully. I mean, look at this. I finally, mercifully, come down out of the rock and scree section of that gully and onto a more stable, grassy or dirt path. So yeah, this part of the path is a nice reprieve. However, the proponents of masochism don't have to fret, because coming up here shortly, I'm going to have to pass through a pretty lengthy section of willow bushes. Wow, this is lovely. Look at this mud. God, I really hate these damn things. Have mercy, I'm finally coming back to the main Mount Bierstadt trail. So, coming back to the Guanella Pass trailhead right now, about noon. So, it took me just under 7 hours to ascend Mount Bierstadt via the Mount Bierstadt trail, then ascend the Sawtooth Ridge up to the Sawtooth, and then descend back to the Bierstadt trail via the gully west of Mount Evans and subsequently the willow bushes. So pretty good time. See you on the next mountain.